Welcome to the No Budget Indie Filmcast, where we dip into the independent film universe to highlight those little films that you might not have heard about elsewhere. Will you agree with our panel, or will our panel agree with each other? Tune in to find out. I am Milo Dennison, and with me, as always, is Claire Milan and Caval Feeney.
Hello.
All right, Caval, what did we watch this week?
This week we watched a film called Castello Cavalcanti, which is written and directed by Wes Anderson of Wes Anderson fame. It is set in a small village somewhere in Italy, probably around the 1950s. And you have this setting of a cafe and some people sitting outside eating and drinking and talking, and suddenly a car race comes through the village, and it's those kind of old cigar shaped type motor cars. And a few cars go through, and then another guy comes in at the very end and he crashes. The driver gets out, and he is American. He's a guy from the USA, and he sits down and he starts talking to the people there, and then he's discovered that this is his ancestral village, and he's related to all the people here. There's more to the story than meets the eye. We kind of figure out. But as I said at the top, it's a Wes Anderson film because I thought it has that sort of look and feel, very colorful, very sort of primary colors. Um, if you look at the framing of it, each frame, it almost looks like a picture, a photograph in and of itself. The there's a certain kind of a strangeness to the dialogue, and I don't know whether that's because of the theme, or is it sort of typical of him, because it's a kind of staccato, like, sort of this driver, this American driver, he does most of the talking, and yeah, it's almost unnatural the way he's speaking and he's talking and he's acting. Um, and there is with Wes Anderson films, there is a kind of a certain kind of strangeness about the way people talk and interact. But still, yeah, it's a very uh, nice film to look at, and it's a good watch.
Yeah, it's funny because like Jason Schwartzman plays the race car driver, and it was like, what, a Wes Anderson film with Jason Schwartzman in it? You never see that. So, who's basically in every Wes Anderson film, by the way, for anyone listening or watching that
Know
doesn't
it's
know
Jason
that.
Schwartzman is.
Jason Schwartzman. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's a typical Wes Anderson film, right? Like it's framed exactly like he frames all his films. It's got that stylized look to it, and it stars Jason Schwartzman. So the thing is, like, I don't really get what the point of this film is, though. Like, he races his car, he meets the people in the village, but like, but like, why did Wes Anderson do it? Was he just like had some free time and a bunch of money and access to a stage, and he's like, I'm gonna make a short film because I'm Wes Anderson and I can. I'm not really sure, like, kind of what the point of it is. I don't know.
Well, if you look at the title, it's Prada Presents. So maybe
Hmm.
they give him a ton of money to make a short film set in Italy.
Maybe.
I don't know if there's
Yeah.
any product placement going on there, but I'd say,
Yeah, I think the same, Milo. It's weird. It was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then it's like a lead balloon. Oh, hold on. There's not much of a story here. Like if
Hmm.
this was a different filmmaker with and had the same plot and same dialogue, it wouldn't be good at all. Like, because there'd be nothing to it. But I think it's the style over substance a little bit. But it is beautiful. Like it is like, wow, this is like millions nearly pumped into it, or however much money is pumped into this. And but every shot is like a painting or a picture, and the lighting and the costume, and it's very, yeah, it is very staccato. It's like a farce, I suppose. That's his style. But I find his feature films sometimes, when this isn't a feature film style, the length of a feature film like this kind of style, it's a bit too much. I wouldn't be a massive Wes Anderson fan, but I do love his style. but just enjoying his films, it can be a bit much. But I think it's a good length to see what he can do and his the world he creates. The script just wasn't really there.
Well,
But yeah, it
did
looks like a lot of money pumped into this. Yeah.
did you, did like did you understand, or did you did you figure out what actually happened to the driver?
So
Well,
he
he met
met
his
his old.
family. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
really. Like it's I think,
Yeah.
spoiler alert again, that he was actually killed in the crash.
Okay,
So it's
interesting.
a sort of like a dreamlike quality there. Because I mean, the
Oh,
guy he meets there, it's his great granduncle. So he
okay.
couldn't
Do you
be
know what?
alive.
I think it's probably one of those films you should watch twice or three times.
Yeah,
Maybe there is that hidden message that I missed completely.
yeah.
It's they did say that, but I thought maybe he's concussed or something. I don't know. He was just but that's interesting.
And the waiter, like, he comes out and he says, "This is
Okay.
your great granduncle." But how does he know who he is? If like he
Yeah,
never met
actually.
him, or he didn't introduce himself, or I don't think he did
Yeah.
anyway. So that's the kind of the underlying theme there, that he
I'll
crashed,
have to
and
watch
it's his
it
ancestral
again.
village, and you know he he's meeting the ghosts of his ancestors. Yeah. So it's that would probably go somewhere to explaining this the oddness of the dialogue, and it seems to make no sense, I guess. But yeah,
The fact he doesn't leave. Sorry, spoiler alert. Spoiler
exactly.
alert.
Yeah.
No.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly. Like, why doesn't he get on the bus then? Because he's like, hey, being dead rocks. I'm gonna hang out and eat pasta.
yeah.
Mm,
Um,
interesting.
did you ever see a film called Brigadoon years ago?
No.
It
No,
was
I've
an
heard of
old
it.
it was an old Gene Kelly musical, but it it was set in this mythical Scottish village called Brigadoon that only comes to life every 100 years. So Gene Kelly and his friend are walking through the Scottish Highlands, and they come across this village, and it's happens to just have come alive for that day. And then Sid Charisse, I think, is in it, and Gene Kelly made Sid Charisse, and then he has to make a decision whether, if he stays in the village, he'll leave his old life, and then the next day will be 100 years later. So he has to decide whether to stay or go. I was just reminded of that uh,
Yeah.
idea of this village sort of trapped in time like that.
Okay.
Mm.
Make more
Yeah,
sense
that's
actually.
interesting. Yeah, that adds to it. Yeah,
Mm.
that does. I didn't catch that either, Claire. So I guess,
It wasn't just me.
yeah, nope, it wasn't just you. It was me too.
Yeah.
So like, if this is sponsored by Prada, then are they trying to sell Prada clothing? Like, is everybody in here wearing Prada clothes? Maybe.
Is it
Maybe,
like an advertisement? Like a long advertisement for
That's what
Prada?
I'm thinking then.
maybe
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
maybe
is.
Prada was like,
Okay.
hey, Wes, make a movie, have everybody wearing Prada clothes, and here's a crap
Mm.
ton of money.
Or have everybody talking about Brad like we are?
Mhm.
Like maybe
Yeah.
maybe it was played as a short before a feature. Yeah. So
Mm.
Brad
Maybe.
presents. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, does he
I don't know.
do that?
Like,
I
I
wonder
know,
before. Yeah.
yeah, I know BMW does that. They'll sponsor little short films,
Mm.
and they involve generally the car like racing around and doing something cool in the form of a short film. So maybe they're all wearing Prada.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, yeah, because and sometimes you see some filmmakers with their feature film, the little film before it of their own. I wonder, was this originally part of like kind of a package with one of his other films? Yeah,
This,
interesting.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of any of his other films that are. I mean, he
Right.
does. I mean, he did what was the French Hotel one? He
Oh,
did.
yeah, the Scotch. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So maybe.
Mm.
I don't know.
Mm.
Well, should we get on to rating then?
Yeah. Okay, you can go first,
Claire?
Tyler.
Oh, okay, I'll go first then. I I am a Wes Anderson fan, although, yeah, not all of his films are hits to me, but the ones that do hit, I do really enjoy. Even now, knowing the potential subplot aspect of whether or not he's alive, it still doesn't necessarily make it all that much better for me. So I'm just going to go right in the middle on this one. Looks great, stylized, typical Wes Anderson film. Just, you know, doesn't stand out for me. So I'm going 3 stars.
Okay. So for me, it was beautifully shot, stunning lighting. Yeah, very well put together. You can see the money was pumped into it. But the story I didn't get. But when you're talking about Cahill, I watching it again, that would make sense, and that gives a different meaning. But I just didn't get that, so I'm going to go 3.5 stars.
Okay. Uh, I with Wes Anderson, I generally like his films, but not all of them. And it looks really good, you know, and even the action scene with the cars coming through, you know, that was very well done and everything. Um, the whole kind of him dying and meeting his ancestors, I kind of like that as an idea, and makes you it makes you think about it a bit more, which I always like. So I would give it 4 stars.
Mhm. There you have it, Filmcast audience. It's called, what's it called, Carl?
Castello Cavalcanti.
And what does that mean in
Castello.
English?
Well,
Well,
that's the name of the
castle,
village. I
probably.
don't know if I
Ah,
mean
Castello. Say that again.
Castello Cavalcanti.
Cavalcanti. All right, go check it out. Let us know what you think. You can always reach us on the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook social media channels at No Budget Show, or leave a comment or a review. And with that, we'll say see you next time and goodbye. Goodbye.
But